Medication Administration Training Program. Accepting medications.
Now let's talk about what to do when a parent gives you medication to give their child. Before you accept the medication, you need to review the medication and the consent form, and if there are any problems, have the parent correct them. The Accepting Medication handout provides a helpful checklist to use when you do this review. First, review the medication. Make sure it's in its original container, labeled with the child's first and last names. This is required whether it's an over-the-counter or prescription medication. If the medication is not in its original container, you have no way of being sure what the medication is. Make sure the parent gives you the package insert for the medication to keep with the consent form. The package insert covers side effects and gives other detailed instructions you may need. If the parent's instructions on the consent form are not consistent with the package insert, you must have written instructions from the child's health care provider before you can give the medication. For prescription medication, make sure there's a pharmacy label attached to the medication and that you understand all the instructions. Be sure the parents give you any special tools you'll need to give the medication, like a dosing spoon, pill crusher, or an oral syringe. These tools should be labeled with the child's first and last names. Now, review the consent form, making sure the instructions are complete, understandable, signed by the parent in all cases, and signed by the healthcare provider when that's required. Make sure the consent form covers just one medication and one child, and make sure the 5 rights on the consent form and the pharmacy label or package match. If the medication is to be given as needed, make sure the consent form lists the specific symptoms that indicate the child needs a dose of the medication. For as-needed medicines, the consent form must also tell you how much time there must be between doses and the maximum number of doses that can be given in one day. If the medication is to be given a certain number of times each day, make sure the parent has written in a specific time when they expect you to give the dose. Although this information is on the medication package or insert, it is strongly recommended that the consent form list the possible side effects of the medication, identifying any of these side effects that are considered serious or adverse reactions, and telling you what emergency actions to take if the child has a serious or adverse reaction. Check for any special instructions you need to follow when giving the medication. For example, this could include how the medication should be prepared, whether it should be given with food, and similar instructions. Sometimes these instructions change when a medication should be given. For instance, if a medication is to be given on an empty stomach, at least an hour before or after eating, but is scheduled to be given at lunchtime, that's a problem. In a case like this, you need to work with the parent to have her change the time the dose is to be given to a time that fits with the special instructions. The consent form must include either the date the medication is to be discontinued or the number of days it is to be given, unless it's an as-needed medication. Sometimes medications are used as needed over a long period of time. Sometimes parents may give you an incomplete consent form or a consent form that doesn't meet all the requirements I've just listed. If this happens, explain the problem to the parent and tell her you cannot give the medication to their child until the form is corrected. The parent can fax the consent form to the physician, and he or she can fix the problem, sign it, and fax it back to you. After you review the consent form and get any problems fixed, you are good to go. Fill out the Child Day Program section on the back of the consent form. Put the child's name and the medication name on the matching log of medication, and you're ready to start giving the medication. What if the parent wants to stop the medication early? Sometimes a parent will request that you discontinue the medication before the date given by the healthcare provider. In this situation, there's a section on the back of the consent form where the parent can write the new discontinue date and sign it. What if the prescription changes and the child has medicine left? A child may need her dose changed when she still has medicine left in the old bottle with the old pharmacy label on it. In a case like this, the child's healthcare provider completes a new consent form with the new instructions. There's a section on the consent form that asks if the instructions on it are a change to an earlier consent form. If the healthcare provider checks this box, then the instructions on the new consent form can be different from those on the current medication label until the child finishes her current bottle of medicine.